All right. So much going on. Holy cow. We went through a month or two where nothing happened, and now everything's happening. We got to start with the Deshaun Watson thing. As of right now, Monday night, a judge has ruled that he should get 6-game suspension, and everybody is losing their mind. I've seen people say he shouldn't get anything because he really didn't commit any crime. I've seen people say he should get banned for life. It's all over the place. Where do you think this is going to end up in?
Nowhere.
But the total number of games he's actually going to be suspended, what do you think it's going to be?
Oh, half. So they gave him 6, right? 3. He'll appeal.
You think just 3? Oh no.
I think they always split the difference.
Yeah, I sort of feel like he's not. I feel like he's not going to appeal. I feel like. I just feel like he got off light. You would,
and that could be maybe there's some kind of like, don't even bother appealing. Like, take what you got and just shut up and walk away.
I think that would be the smart thing to do if he's going to save any face at all. He should just come out and say that he's or not he, because that'll just make him look guilty or whatever. Right. But somebody should just make a statement and say, we're not going to
agent or whatever.
His peeps. Yeah, exactly. But part of me is also thinking that Goodell has a really great opportunity here to because it's not the NFL's ruling. I think a lot of people are digging on the NFL.
It's
not the NFL's ruling, but I feel like if anything, NFL is so supportive of women, you know what I mean? I sort of feel like that he has to make a stand here if he wants to save face. But at the same time, that would just drag it out. You know what I mean?
And why isn't the NFL's ruling? The NFL hasn't made any noises that we are very aware of this situation and we are, you know what I mean? We are waiting for the ruling so that we can take appropriate act. You know what I mean? You just don't. You don't hear anything. It's a bit like the NFL is almost like holding their breath for it to go away so that we don't have to talk about it anymore, which seems to be what they do with a lot of cases. It's very frustrating to sit back and watch. And then, somebody else said to me, or saying to me earlier that, well, at least now, he's going to go get massages. He can only get them from team staff, right? Like people on staff. And I'm like, first of all, why is that any guarantee that he's going to be appropriate? And second of all, look what they did to the females in the Washington Commanders organization. So why do we feel like that's a fair thing? Like that's something that is reassuring. I mean, you have to be kidding. I don't know. It's all treated so badly. It's very frustrating to sit by and watch.
It's all horrible. But when you said they're waiting for 2 things. A, they're waiting for it to all blow over. They're waiting for some other bleep storm to happen so that we could just forget about this. I think that's what the Browns were counting on. I think that's what the NFL was counting on. The other thing the NFL was also counting on is if there was going to be video. If there is video, then you throw the book at him. But there is no video. So it's like, okay, well, then I guess we got to do something. This whole thing now, the way it used to be with punishments is Goodell was the judge, jury, and executioner, which was really dumb. He's
as in Ben's case, like he was in Ben's case.
As in Ben's, it's like, well, I decide this. It's like, well, we want to appeal. Okay, your appeal will be heard by Roger Goodell.
Me.
It's like, so I think I'm going to decide the same thing I just already decided. So so what they decided to do after the 2020 collective bargaining agreement is say, okay, we're going to have an impartial judge rule on things like this. But the NFL can take whatever the judge says and say, that's nice, we're going to do whatever we want. And right now the NFL has 3 days, I believe, to pose whatever judgment, whatever they want to do, and then the NFLPA can appeal or something like that. And
I don't believe for a second the judge is impartial. I feel like it's a snow job that they got a female judge. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's a snow job. I feel like that's something I've already had people saying to me, Dave, well, it was a female, but you know what I mean?
The
Like,
female.
that's not the be all end all.
So apparently in this report, she basically says that he is a horrible human being that has done terrible things. The NFL has proven their case that he is a horrible, horrible person and has done all of these sexual assault things. So we're just going to give him a slap on the wrist.
Right.
I don't
It
get
doesn't
it.
make sense.
She says because it wasn't violent. It's like, what?
And who is she to say what's violent and what's not? I mean,
what a
how
horrible
is sexual assault never violent.
What a
we were talking,
horrible.
It always is. And we were talking about that today because I was saying, you know how like little kids, like dads or not dads, parents who spank their children, like the kids get afraid of that person from that person going, you better knock it off, or you know what I mean? And they're intimidated. Somebody's bigger, stronger, richer, more powerful. You don't always have to strike them to have them be afraid. There's other kinds of fear and intimidation. Who is she to say something's violent or not? She wasn't there. I mean, these women were traumatized.
Yeah.
It's sad and disgusting, the entire thing. I think, and who knows what the NFL is going to decide. Who knows? I heard at one point they wanted a year off.
Right. Yeah.
I heard that too.
So I think if I were to guess, I would say that they're going to say, well, we think it should be 12 games. And then they're going to, the NFL, the PA is going to appeal, and they'll probably negotiate it down to 8 games or something like that. It's like, okay. What they don't want to have happen is, let's say the NFL says, well, I don't care what the judge says, we're gonna make it a year or something like that, and NFLPA says, oh yeah, well, we're appealing, and they can just keep suing each other and taking this to court, all the way to federal court. And if it goes to federal courts, then you basically it opens up all of the cobwebs of what happened with Daniel Snyder, what happened with Jerry Jones, what happened with Kraft and the massage parlor and stuff like that. It's like all the times your owners did stuff
under the rug.
You didn't punish them at all, but you're punishing this player who technically didn't even commit a crime. What's up with that? So they don't want all that dirty laundry to be aired. So they're going to come to some kind of negotiation.
Plus, I mean, there's only 6 weeks left until kickoff. I mean, they have to resolve it. And none of this stuff ever is swift usually, you know what I mean? So it's like, if they were going to go through all that, you know, it just sounds like a big mess to have to deal with within before the season.
And you know, there's contracts in these clauses in these contracts, just like there are in almost every profession. I was telling somebody else that when I was a principal, we had a teacher at my school who went out and got really sloppy drunk at a bar. She was acting like a fool. I mean, just out of control. And there was a group of parents that were there that night and saw it. And took some videos and posted them on the internet. And she didn't do anything illegal. She didn't break one law. She didn't drive. She didn't get arrested. She called an Uber and went home. But those videos got leaked out. She lost her job and called it conduct unbecoming. Do you know what I mean? If she made the organization look bad. And I'm not saying in every instance where somebody makes the organization look bad, they need to get shot down. But I mean, look how hard they came down for gambling and for smoking marijuana and you know, but we're going to say all of this supposed like all these attacks on women, and then we're not going to take those seriously. It's
there definitely, and there definitely needs to be something done about, you know, the varying, you know, degrees of suspensions and things like that, but it's never going to happen.
It does really show you though, like what is important to that like club of white men. Do you know what I mean? It's, you know, marijuana is still terrible and bad and a gateway drug and all of these things, but you know, knock a few women around it, that's okay. Should have been quiet in the first place, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly what this is showing right now.
It also shows that if you're rich enough or famous enough, you could get away with anything. And that's the saddest thing is when you lose that sense of justice. That just is a little scary for how society is going, and this is certainly not the first time that we've thought that justice is being screwed.
And as creepy as and as like disgusting as we always thought the Browns were, this is even more, because all these numbers coming out, they specifically wrote Watson's first year to make it so that he lost the least amount of money
possible. Yeah.
They helped him out as much as possible.
It's like $337,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They knew this was coming. They knew there was some suspension coming, so they tried to help him out as much as possible so he could keep his
financially help him out as much as possible, which is insane. Instead of forcing his hand on doing, donating money or doing the right thing, or I don't know, just not paying him. No.
Right. Yeah. And the Browns fans are just being jerks as usual, about the whole situation. Well, you have no right to say anything because you guys rooted for Ben Roethlisberger for all those years. And it's like, well, wait a minute. He was found not guilty. Right.
Actually, he was never charged.
He was never even charged.
He was never charged. I don't even know if there were civil cases.
I did say that wrong, but there was nothing. He was never. Nothing was ever done. So it's like, well, in this case, nothing. Nothing's ever been done to Watson.
And at that time, Ben did take what was a pretty hefty suspension compared to what was going on in the league with other things. Do you know what I mean? Right. But times have changed. You know what I mean? I hate to say that. And I don't excuse what Ben did. I've said for years that was Ben probably a giant jerk back then? Probably.
Yeah. I think he's admitted it too.
I don't excuse his behavior at all. But by that same token, things have changed in the country as a whole. We're working towards eliminating these types of behaviors by people in power situations, after the Me Too movement and things like that. But the NFL insists on staying like it's stuck back in 1955.
And it's sad because I thought that they were moving forward, especially with the racial inequality and things.
Yeah.
I really thought that they were turning over a new leaf, and it
feels like lip service for all of it.
It's a huge step backward, and it's just lip service. But it is amazing that Ben was involved with one or two cases. This is like 30 some, and you get the same amount of suspension. That's just weird.
Yeah, there's something wrong about that.
All right. Moving on.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's move on to more depressing topics. The Steelers quarterback situation. It's been not even a week, and they just started pads today. So the early news is, well, Mason Rudolph is looking great. Well, Mason Rudolph's been here the longest time, and he's knows been there.
He should.
He should.
And today they came out and said he took a step back, which is funny because he's working with the third team and Kenny Pickett is working with the second team today.
Right.
And Mason's regressed and Kenny Pickett's taken a step forward. And it's like, well, that says more about the third team, I think, than anything.
If I were to guess, I would say it's not necessarily a step back. It's just, this is probably just what they had for the rotation the whole time.
Yeah. Or just the receivers that he's working with. I mean, he's working with probably Tyler Vaughn.
Not a step back. Yeah. It's just who's playing with possibly. Yeah. I agree with that.
Right.
It's kind of good that we aren't getting like so much Kenny Pickett is a possibility of a starter, because I'd really hoped all along he would have the year to kind of develop, and so maybe it's a good thing that we take that out of the equation and take the pressure off of him just right off the start. Do you know what I mean? He's not a bust. He's not doing anything wrong. He's a rookie, and just let him have time to develop as a player, and let's put that pressure onto Trubisky to do well.
Yeah, let him sit back and learn. Use this camp to prepare Mitch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to waste the energy on preparing Pickett.
Right. And these people that are saying, oh, he's 24. If he waits a year, he's going to be 25. Tom Brady's like 80.
Tom Brady's
82. Like by the time Pickett plays, it's going to be quarterback's going to be like 60 when they retire.
It's definitely it's not the same anymore because quarterbacks don't get hit the way they used to. And so 24 is young. Mentally, I think they need that time to develop and learn the system.
I hate that argument so much. He's already old. If he's not a success right away, if he's not starting right away, that's a busted pick. Oh my goodness.
It's a terrible argument.
You're just looking for things to complain about.
We talked about this before. Lots of really good quarterbacks, including Tom Brady, didn't come right out their rookie camp knocking everybody's socks off. And
Mahomes didn't. Josh Allen certainly didn't. Yeah.
Ben was the number 3 dude. He was supposed to sit back and learn, and then Tommy Maddox got hurt.
Right.
I think it's just way too early. Yeah, I mean, but what else can we take from camp? All I hear is that George Pickens is looking awesome.
Amazing.
All I hear,
Yeah,
that's all I hear.
amazing.
George Pickens, George Pickens, George Pickens.
Which is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, no doubt.
And Diontae Johnson is
Holding
holding in.
in.
You know, what are we gonna do with him?
I read a lot about that today.
What do you do with him? I mean, you know, there's like, well, this is just like TJ Watt and Minka and stuff. Like, no, it's not anything like that.
No, it's really not.
No, those two guys were going to get paid.
Although I will understand why he will use that same argument. Do you know what I mean? Because I understand your own personal ego. You know, you want to be treated the same as everybody else, the same treatment everybody else gets. Do you know what I mean? I can understand that.
Yeah, I sort of feel like, you know, he's painted himself into a corner. He doesn't really have much leverage. I mean, obviously all of these players, these elite players, are signing historic contracts right now. And at least two of them, Diontae Johnson has better statistics than. But it's just a question of whether it's more a question of the Steelers organization. I mean, we know historically they don't pay wide receivers.
Right.
But you almost wonder, you know, is Omar Khan's in charge now? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, is he going to put his own stamp on things? Is he going to maybe change it? But at the same time, it's just so unlike the Steelers, Omar Khan, Tony Colbert, to pay any more than you know, to pay absorbently. And I sort of feel like, you know, 20 million is just a bit or plus would be just a bit too rich for them is what I'm thinking.
I really thought that he had matured, it looked like, so much over last season. I really expected him to be ready to come this season and like put in the hard work, knowing that his kind of football life depended on it, whether it was in Pittsburgh or with another team. People were going to be looking to see how he performed, what his attitude was like, you know, how he continued to improve his handwork and all of those things. And so then for him to be kind of, I don't blame him for being frustrated, but sometimes you got to take the higher road.
Yeah. Because
I can only imagine it must be hard.
Yeah, the last thing that he would need is for something to happen to him, like Claypool or Najee's got a foot thing.
Right.
I mean, if he got injured, he'd be screwed.
Oh, screwed.
Yeah. So we can see the business side, but we can also see the personal side of it. And it's just like I don't know that there's really an easy answer. I would honestly trade him. See what they can get from him, because otherwise he's going to play this year and he's going to go somewhere else, and then they're not going to get anything except for maybe a comp pick.
Yeah. That's true.
I just think it's a huge tell that the Steelers drafted 2 wide receivers early in this year's draft. I think they're basically saying, okay, Diontae, go walk. We're fine.
I think they've always said that to every wide receiver, just about. I mean, there's with few exceptions, it's always been, you know, you're replaceable, and they are. I mean,
they are.
But you just are, and you know, with few exceptions, they're just replaceable. And you know, we let Juju go. Let other people go too. Let Antonio Brown go. You know what I mean? You let people go. It is what it's just how we do business. And there's other guys waiting in the wings. And so I hate to lose him. I feel like he's worked hard to improve, but I don't feel like he's any more special than anybody else.
Right. Yeah. And Dallas needs a quarterback. Dallas needs a receiver right now because they just lost James Washington for the year.
Yeah.
So
that's
that could
a shame.
be
I was really looking forward to
me too. I wanted to see what he was like in a decent offense.
Yeah.
He would have been a disappointment there too. He sucks. He sucks. But that's, you know, we're kind of taking for granted that the Steelers are really good at drafting wide receivers. Other teams would love to have that issue. They would love to be good at drafting and developing wide receivers.
Yeah.
So don't pay them. Let them walk if you could develop them. But that's assuming if Chase Claypool has a good year, and if George Pickens is good, and if Calvin Austin is good, or Miles Boykin, or
Anthony Miller.
Anthony Miller.
He had, you know, he did really well. Anthony Miller had a really good couple of years, I guess, with Mitch Trubisky. So
that's what I saw.
I guess there's a guy coming out that Kenny Pickett played with at Pitt, Jordan Addison, a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think it's at USC now, but I think he's coming out in the draft next year. So that could be, an
Interesting.
There will always be wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So many of them.
So and nothing against Diontae. I think Diontae is good,
Yeah.
but you're not getting the money here, buddy. So,
and I think that kind of like holding out and pressure in the Steelers never works well.
No.
You know what I mean? Never, ever. They act like they can't see you or hear you. You know what I mean? It never works well. So I don't know that that's necessarily his best move, but.
Right. Yeah.
The guy's going to try to pressure the Steelers. What do you think this is? Cleveland?
Right.
You can pull that crap at
AB's
Cleveland.
Tweet about this? Did you see AB's tweet about this? How
What?
the only difference in this situation between TJ Watt and Diontae Johnson was the color of their skin.
Oh my God.
Really? Like,
yeah.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, really?
He's just.
That's the difference?
Yeah, that's the difference. Not that TJ Watt is the clear number one player at his position or 1A.
I really agree that race plays a role in a lot of things in the NFL.
Yeah,
a lot of things, but not this one.
No.
Not
Le'Veon was just sad because his boxing match.
Oh, that's right. It was Le'Veon, not AB.
Right, yeah.
That's right. It was Le'Veon.
If I ever do,
AB was busy rapping.
Right.
Yeah, if I ever do commit a horrible crime or do something like that, I hope my punishment is that I have to see an AB rap concert.
Oh God.
And AB rap concerts followed by a Le'Veon Bell boxing match. That would be my punishment.
Hard pass. Like, you made enough money, didn't you? I mean, you really need to do this. Punish us all.
He just looks stupid.
I know who goes to that. I saw it on Twitter. Who goes to that?
He just looks dumb. I mean, there's nothing about. I mean, there's nothing about him that looks cool.
No, terrible, washed up.
What else are we? Another thing I'm really interested in is apparently there's a battle for the guard position between Dotson and Kendrick Green.
Mm-hmm.
And that surprises me. You'd think Dotson would have that locked up. It'd be a no-brainer, but
I just think that because they invested a draft. I mean, obviously Dotson was drafted as well, but I sort of feel like because they invested a draft pick in Green and he didn't work out at center, that I mean, I'm not there. I don't know. There is apparently a battle, but I sort of get the feeling that it is Dotson's that he really has to screw up. But he's been so injury prone, you know what I mean? So that's a concern as well. So
I don't think it's the worst thing to have somebody strong right there behind him. I mean, with the injuries and some inconsistencies.
Works for me. If you have two, pretty good guard options at guard, that's fine. It was really dumb of Kendrick Green to say, "I don't want to play center. I didn't like playing center." Right. Well, we knew you didn't like playing it because we watched you play it all year, and we could tell you didn't like it because you were really bad at it.
It was like the kid that doesn't want to play goalie that gets like stuck in the goalie position. Where just like, I'm not catching anything. Yeah, it was bad. I felt bad for him because I felt like he took a beating all season for that, and he was put into playing a position that really isn't a position he's meant to play. It's not his position.
But if you are the backup, you got to be flexible with the positions. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm only playing guard." Like that. That kind of limits
you know what? You go out there and show you have a good attitude and bust your butt and do well in some other positions that aren't your positions, and show that you're working really hard to improve. That only helps your case to get where you want to be on the field.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know much about playing football. I don't know if you could tell, but I sort of feel like if you suck at center, you're not going to be all that great at guard.
Yeah.
I think it's a completely different thing. I think playing center is super tough.
Really hard.
You got to snap the ball, and like everybody else gets to be set. You got to snap the ball, and I think the center is kind of like the brains of the offensive line. So that
that's true. But he was getting bulldozed, so it's like
he was.
That part of it concerns me if he were to play guard.
I wondered if he was so like mentally not in that position that it impacted his ability to be like physically in that position. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't think he never looked like he had the timing right to me,
Mhm.
like any of it going right. And I kept waiting for it to get a little better, and it never really did. And then it made me
Mhm.
wonder, did he just feel so defeated that then you're physically just getting pushed around too, you know?
Mhm.
You know, he went straight from being drafted to being the starter. You know,
Right.
when you're drafted in the NFL, the big question is, are you good enough to be in the NFL? And he never got
Right.
that answer because he was thrown right in the fire. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I feel bad for him. He got a lousy
really
hand,
did.
and I think the team recognizes that. And but
I
we'll
hope that
see.
this little bit of a battle at the guard position, I hope, if nothing else, it helps to build some confidence back up in him that, you know, he is good enough to play in the NFL. Do you know what I mean?
And
Maybe that
Dotson,
wasn't his
and,
position.
or
And
push a
Dotson too.
Dotson or something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So what's up with the Bosberg?
Oh yeah. Well, I just figured, you know, since all the quarterbacks in Pittsburgh suck, that you got to support somebody, right? But he
Well,
did just get he did just get signed.
he just got
Very
signed
exciting.
basically the same amount of money as Justin Tucker.
Justin Tucker, yeah, man.
The thing that amazes me is that in all-time kickers, he is number 4 in accuracy all time.
Mhm.
I knew it was up there. I didn't
That's
realize it was that
amazing.
high. That is
Um,
amazing.
He is Justin Tucker is clearly number 1. There's no, he is clearly probably the best of all time. But Chris Boswell is really good. He had that one bad year where clearly he was hurt.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he has been automatic.
Yeah, no doubt.
Very
He
consistent.
put Skippy Reed to shame, that's for sure.
Well, that's the thing. They found Boswell because, yeah, Skippy Reed was gone. And then they went through, and then they had Sean Squeeze. I can't say. He was good, but then he got hurt.
Yeah.
And then they went through that Josh Scobie, who was like the worst player ever.
Worst kicker ever.
Yeah. And so, you know, they just stumbled upon Chris Boswell, and he's been like the man ever since. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
First preseason game is August 13th, Saturday.
Technically, it's Thursday.
Well, for the Steelers.
Oh, okay.
This Thursday is the first
the Hall of Fame game.
The Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the Hall of Fame game is the worst football ever.
Yeah.
Well, not as bad as like the USFL and stuff like that, but still, it's really bad football. But I don't care. I think we're just happy to see football. Like
happy to see football back.
I'm totally turning it on.
Ready, so ready. Be watching all of it.
Yeah.
I'm so
anyway.
excited.
You were talking about the Steelers, and I interrupted you with the Hall of Fame excitement.
no. I was just gonna say the first Steelers preseason game is Saturday, August 13th.
Yes.
And there's only 3 of them. There's August 13th, August 20th, and August 28th. And yeah, there's only 3 games. And then September 11th is the first game against the Bengals. Did you see Joe Burrow is got an appendectomy or something like that?
He already had it, and he showed up to camp on one of those carts, one of those electric carts.
Oh,
how long is he out?
Well, they're saying that he's not going to do anything. Like
for how long? Oh,
not really, because there's really, if you think about it, there's not.
I've had abdominal surgery twice. It's really like, even if you have laparoscopic surgery, if they cut through like your abdominal muscles, it is so painful.
Yeah,
it takes. I think it took me 8 weeks. Now, of course, I'm not like an athlete in peak physical condition or anything, but so, you know, that's tough.
But you're also not having
getting drilled by 300-pound men either.
Exactly. You're not getting killed by 300-pound people. So yeah, that was horrible timing.
Right.
I know you don't plan appendectomies.
Right.
Still, you couldn't have had this in March, dude. Like, this might have screwed their season, and that might have greatly helped the Steelers because that's the first game. Who knows if he's going to be ready? It's only 5 weeks.
Right. This says should only be limited amount of time, maybe a week. That says
so he's completely out. He's not really doing anything
for about a week. Yeah. This is what we call bread and butter surgery. Super common, minimally invasive. Okay. Sure. Probably missed practice for a week or 2.
because you use
Yeah.
so much of this
Yes.
when you throw. You would think that would just be extremely painful.
Right.
But whatever. Like you said,
They
he's
said
an
Matt
athlete.
Castle had an appendectomy in 2010 and returned to the field 11 days after the operation, missing only a week.
Yeah, and he sucked.
Right. That yeah.
Oh my God, Joe Burrow's gonna end up like Matt Castle. Oh my God, the Bengals are doomed.
Is that this?
Oh
is
my
that
God.
the surgery he had? The Castlectomy.
Castle, yeah. They removed all of the football ability from Castle. Maybe that is what you call a botched surgery. My goodness.
But bump.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, so yeah, we'll see. They're just starting in pads, and not only pads, but those beehive helmets.
Yeah, they keep talking about those every time you turn on ESPN.
Yeah. There's some guys that are like, why don't they wear them to the regular season?
Really?
Because they look dumb. That's
because the helmet is cool. The helmet's cool. Like that's
Yeah.
part of the aesthetics is the helmet and how pretty it looks.
Right.
So if they could figure out, and you would think putting something like that, even a small version of it, I mean, they sort of have something in their helmets already.
Yeah.
But it's like
do something.
they'd have to wear like those who are those guys? Not the cone heads, but there's guys, it doesn't matter. It would just be really large, even if they did the helmet so that they put that inside of it.
It looked like the zoo off the Flintstones.
Right.
The Great
Yeah,
Kazoo,
that's what I was thinking of.
yeah, the
Thank
Great
you.
Kazoo, yeah. But not every team's doing this. So
Well, it's only certain players. It's only certain. I don't know which ones off the top. Only certain positions, like linebackers and tight ends, and
right.
So it's not everybody, but it's all teams are supposed to be doing it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to anybody else. Really.
I don't pay attention to everybody.
The look is very important, like you said, and yeah. There's no way you could look cool rocking a beehive. That's just.
It's also got to just throw off like your balance a little and like your peripheral vision and like it just everything. Like it just feels like you're bending over to
No, I don't know if it's heavier or what the deal is.
Just awkward. Like just even.
They've talked about it so
awkward
much, you would think that I would know what it's made of, but I couldn't tell you for the life of me.
It kind of looks like that stuff you put on beds to make your bed a little bit more comfy.
Like the egg carton.
That egg cart, yeah, but it's probably the same stuff.
Right.
It talks about it so much on ESPN that while I'm baking and I hear it come up, my brain immediately like shuts off and goes into some other self-entertainment mode.
What's on the Food Network?
Yeah.
What am I gonna bake tonight?
Yeah.
What kind of drizzle am I gonna put on those bro nuts?
Yep.
So good.
What are you?
Donuts are in the mail.
What are you making? They're brownie donuts.
Brownies shaped like donuts. Yeah. And so then I did black
Fudgy
gold
and
drizzle on
gooey.
them for training camp. Yeah, they're good.
Why has nobody else thought of this? This is like the most brilliant idea ever.
I don't know, but they're pretty awesome.
Uh-huh.
Although I will admit, I really love just a donut. A donut is pretty awesome too.
I sort of feel like I'm gonna like the brown up better because I could give or take. I'm one of those people who could give or take. No offense, Joe. I could give or take a donut, but a brownie, I am gonna every time.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna.
How has nobody ever come up with a bronut? It's right
I
there.
don't feel like I'm the first one. Surely
She's
somebody
probably
else.
not.
No.
But I bought the little molds, and then I was like, what is something fun I could bake in these? And I was like, how about brownies? Somebody else has done this, I'm sure. But fun.
Never heard. I've heard of cronuts, which I guess is like a croissant and a donut or something like that. But I've never heard of a bronut. I mean, it sounds great, and it sounds like, I mean, even women can eat them. It sounds like something only guys can eat. It sounds like a donut that only guys can have. But no,
because it's made for the
it's
bros.
for everyone.
Oh, sheesh.
I'm ordering that Hollywood Bakery, right?
Dude.
Hollywood Bakery.
I'm ordering.
Get yours.
I'm getting some bronuts.
Is the 10%? Is the 10% off still going?
Through today,
Joe. You gotta do it.
Code training camp.
Now.
It's 7:41 p.m. Okay,
Go get your
4
bronuts.
hours.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Kind of a bummer you guys aren't together this time.
I know there's no
True.
wind or rain or
Yeah.
hurricanes or anything.
Right.
Everything was
Cables blowing
blowing
behind
all over.
us.
Right? My hair was like, LeeAnn was all smart. She's like, me. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my gosh. How smart is that?
You needed some bro nuts to hold things down.
That's right.
Right,
That's right.
yeah.
We should have had them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the helmet should be made of. The helmet should be made of bro nuts.
That
Oh,
would be good.
yeah. And then when they get hit, all this fudge and chocolate goes
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
The big
That's
deal
something
would be
Nickelodeon
very
should think about.
distracted.
That's
Yes,
something.
you're right.
That's something during the Nickelodeon game,
Mhm.
which, by the way, Mitch Trubisky was the only Nickelodeon MVP. He was the
I saw that he was. I saw that
that's
on his
right.
Pro Football Reference
or
page.
he
and
was
I
the
like,
first.
what is
He
an
was the first
MVP?
Nickelodeon MVP. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah,
So he has.
Maybe
He
it
has
means
that too.
something.
yeah. So there's hope. If you can be a Nickelodeon MVP,
Right.
there's hope for
Who
him.
knows what's next? Super
Right.
Bowl MVP from Nickelodeon
That's
MVP.
right.
Super Bowl MVP.
That's
Uh-huh.
right.
That'd be quite the story.
All right, guys. All right.
Thanks
Thanks
a
a
lot,
lot.
See you soon.
Yep.
All
Talk to you
right.
later.
Bye.
Get a bro nut.
Taylor.